Friends, this is Bren from Cherry Grove Farmhouse. It is 6:37 on a Saturday morning. You're probably thinking, what is that crazy lady doing up so early? But I get up very early during the week for my job, and so if I sleep past 6 o'clock on a Saturday, that's very rare. I'll show you just in a second how dark it still is outside, but I'm going to be cooking some Southern style pinto beans today. And so I thought I would take you guys through that with me as I go through each step cooking pinto beans. So let's get started. So as you can see, it's still very dark outside at 6:37 in the morning here in Georgia. Let's cook some beans. I've got everything sitting out here on the counter that I'm gonna need. I'm gonna make it in my crock pot, so I'm gonna go through each thing with you. But first, coffee. Let's grab a coffee pot out of here. I told y'all the other day, we've not been able to get the donut shop coffee on the Walmart app in the big box. And we ended up, I picked up that French vanilla, great value. And let me tell you, it's not that good. Now, one of my daughters does like it, so I'm hoping that she will drink it because I hate to waste anything, but coffee's important. And for whatever reason, this donut shop is my coffee of choice. Sorry, I couldn't get the lid off and hold the camera. So we were able to get the donut shop coffee at Sam's. My daughter had a doctor's appointment the other day with a surgeon who fixed her arm after she broke it, and so the Sam's is right there close by. So we ran in, and coffee was at the top of the list. A lot of times I will make like a whole 12-cup pot of coffee on Saturday, but since nobody else is up yet, I'll just make my regular. Now I can get started with my day. It's funny because I didn't start drinking coffee until I was in my 30s, and now I don't think I could survive without it. Love my coffee. Let's make some beans. Okay, so I'm gonna go through each item that I'll be using. First of all, I'll be using a colander because if you've ever cooked pinto beans before, you know you have to look at the beans and make sure that there's no foreign objects in there. I've actually found a rock in a bag of pinto beans before. I mean, these are coming from the ground and you just have to be careful what might be in the bag. So I'll look through the beans and rinse them off thoroughly in the crock pot. Of course, back here is my bag of pinto beans, and it is 4 pounds of beans, but I am not cooking that much today, so I'm gonna cook around 1 pound of beans, and then I will put the rest. I have a container that I store beans after I have opened a bag. I have some bacon that I just took out of the freezer. I'm gonna chop that up into little pieces to put in to season the pinto beans. Some people do ham, ham hock, I use whatever I have, and so this is what I had in my freezer, so that's what we'll be using. I have some sea salt, some ground black pepper. I'm not a pepper fan, but pinto beans is one thing that I do put pepper in. I'll put a little bit of celery salt, some ground paprika, and some onion powder. And I don't really have a recipe that I follow. I will link a couple of recipes down below just to give you something more to go by. But basically, this is one of those recipes that you just go by look and taste. So let's get everything in the crock pot. Okay, so step one, we have to look the beans. And I know that probably sounds funny, but like I said, there can be foreign objects in here. These do come from the ground. So I'm gonna look through my beans, see if I see anything that should not be there, and then I'm gonna rinse them very thoroughly, and we're gonna get started. Now, I told you probably I was gonna do like 1/4 of that bag, and I didn't really weigh it or measure it out. This is just kind of eyeballing it, so after I get them in the crock pot, I might add a few more, but I'll do this process first before I put anything else in there. So, let's look at the beans and get them all clean. Let them drain really good. I'm gonna set a towel here on the counter and just let them sit for just a minute to make sure all that water is drained out. Y'all, look what the mountain is looking like this morning. It's all foggy and just beautiful. All the birds are rejoicing, and I'm rejoicing too. Okay, while those beans are draining really well, I'm going to take my bacon. I'm probably not going to use all this. That's quite a bit of bacon. But I'm going to go ahead and slice off what I'm going to use and slice it into smaller pieces. So I've looked the beans and I've washed the beans. We're going to get them started in the crock pot. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bacon in. Just going to spread that around. And I'm going to put in some sea salt. And I'm going to put a generous amount. Beans, they require a lot of seasoning. And of course, you can always go back and put a little more in if you need it. I'm going to do a little pepper. Like I said, I'm not crazy about pepper, except for in certain things. Gravy is one. And chicken and dumplings is another. But that's usually about all I put pepper in. All right, I'm going to do a little celery salt. I think that just adds a good flavor, and I'm just going to be sparing with that. Just a little. And then some ground paprika. I feel like that gives it a, like kind of a deep, kind of smoky flavor. So I'm going to put a generous amount of that in there. And then onion powder. And some people actually, you know, like mince onions and put onions in theirs, but that is not something my family prefers. So sometimes we will eat an onion with pinto beans, but I do not put them in directly into the beans. And I'm going to put a generous amount of onion powder in there too. All right, we're going to put some water. And you just want to cover the beans about an inch over the beans. All right, I'm going to do just a little bit more. Okay, so it ended up being 5 cups of water. So we're going to give it a good stir. And the good thing about this is, you know, it's a Saturday, I'm here, and if I can keep an eye on the beans, and if I feel like I need to add a little bit more water, then I will do that. Okay, got everything nice and stirred. We're going to pop the lid on, and I'm going to turn it on high for at least the first couple of hours that it cooks. And then I will turn it down on low, and it's usually going to take around 8-9 hours to cook these to like the softness that we like them. So I will show you what they look like when they're all done. And I love to come out on our front porch in the mornings when I can and enjoy the sunrise. The sun is barely starting to peek through the clouds and over the trees right there, but it is just going to be a gorgeous day that the Lord has made. And I'm so proud of our grass. When you build a new house, you don't know, you know, how the grass is going to come up, but our grass has come up so thick and pretty. Much thanks to my husband. So the beans cooked for about 9 hours, and this is what they look like after about 9 hours of cooking. And I probably added another, I don't know, 2 to 3 cups of water throughout the day. So if you're going to cook these and like leave home, I would probably just go ahead and start out with 8 or 9 cups of water, especially for the amount of beans that I cooked. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you soon.